Okay, my girls were wanting a fake alligator, and they were real expensive, more than I could afford. I really wish I would have filmed the whole time I was working on this alligator, but I was 100% sure it would be a flop, and I wouldn't want to put it on YouTube. But I'm going to try to take you step by step how I got to this point, and then I'm going to let you guys watch me finish it off. The first thing I ended up doing was drawing a great big, basically what you're looking at, the main part of the body and the tail, and you're gonna have to cut out 2 of these. I used a sun blocking curtain, and it's got this like plastic or vinyl, I don't know what it is, on the inside, and then the material on the outside. I got this color for like $5 at the thrift store, and then these were not that expensive either. It's like $10 for a brand new one. I ended up using 2 sheets. You probably will end up using more if you make an alligator the size that I made. Okay, so the first thing I did was just take this and turn it inside out and sew it together, the whole thing. You can't see it with the scales, but I sewed the whole thing together, except for I left a pretty good amount at the end. I probably left a good amount, probably about here, open, so I could shove it full of cotton when I got it done. You can do it any way you want, but I made sure the rough material was going to be facing the top, and then the vinyl would be on the bottom all throughout the alligator. You probably can't see it very well, but it's all the underside of it pretty much is that way, except for the arms. When I sewed it together, I even sewed this part up. If you were wondering, I didn't make sure the arms were on first. I just did the whole form first, besides that chunk open in the tail. And that made it a lot easier for me. Okay, now on to the arms. This is the pattern that I ended up making for the arms. Of course, you're going to have to make them a lot bigger. Each of these arms this pattern is for a complete arm, so you only need 4 of these. This is like this arm cut open and laid completely flat. Okay, I'm not a really small person, so I used the measurements of my shoulder. I measured all the way around my arm to make the top of this arm of this alligator. I also used my wrist for the measurements of the alligator wrist. Based upon your size, that may not work for you, and based upon the size of whatever alligator you're making it, that might not work. Okay, this is basically the pattern that I made for the feet. You can't see it as distinct now because it was sewn inside out, and then when it was turned over, it didn't have as distinct, you know, like edges as what I did, but it's kind of like a duck foot. I made these and put these on before I did the arm. You're gonna need 2, 4, 6, 8 of these, because there's a front and back. I did the same thing where I put the vinyl on the bottom and the rough on the top. And I went ahead and sewed all the edges together and left this opening here. Then when I sewed this arm, you know, then I connected this. On the arm, I sewed basically all this, and then I sewed this, and then it had this opening here, this flap here opening, which is right here. And you can't see it because the scales. If I show underneath, you'll see that I had to gather it all. All this was like flapped open when I got all the edges connected. Here's one of the seams. It kind of twisted around, and I didn't know if this would work or not, but it ended up working perfect. But it had this great big opening right here, and so I had to stitch it and just, you know, pull the stitches to make it gather up, and then it made it form the elbow, and it ended up working out perfect. Okay, so before I stuffed this arm, I wanted this to be able to be kind of flat and hard, so I put popsicle sticks in here, cut some popsicle sticks and shoved them in there, and then poured some glue, tacky glue, so it's kind of hard, and it holds its form. Then, of course, I stuffed all of it, and then I ended up sewing it completely together, even the edges. And then once I got them completely sewn together, and then the gator was put together. I found where I want them to be, and I stitched them on really tight. I don't know if you can see some of the stitching, but I did a lot of stitching to make sure these would not come off, and that's how I got the